for the area of a circle, this one specifically is not as versatile as the circumference. You do need a radius for the area of a circle. Okay, so we need the radius. If they provide you with a diameter, you should know the radius is half of the diameter. But this is actually the formula more people are familiar with. It is pi r squared. Okay? The biggest thing that you should be concerned with in this formula is r squared, because just like the circumference, in many cases we're going to just attach pi unless we need a decimal answer. Okay? So really you're squaring the radius and adding on or multiplying by pi. So if we gave you a radius, we'll just do it here, a radius of 8, then we're going to square that. So it'd be pi times 8 squared, which is 64, and that's generally written 64 pi, and we'll call this inches, and areas, of course, are in square units. On the other hand, if they give you a diameter, say you have a diameter of 10, then you're going to take half of that for the radius, so the radius is 5. We're going to square 5 and plug it in, so the area would be 5 squared times pi, or 25 pi. And we'll say centimeters, so centimeters squared. This shouldn't be any big revelation because you guys have done area of a circle several times before now. Okay, but the reason we need to review this is because when we want to talk about the area of a sector, okay, sector is probably not familiar vocab to you. A sector is the area bounded by an arc of a circle and 2 radii. Okay. So what we're talking about here kind of like arc length. If we were doing arc length, we'd be talking about this, but the sector, we're talking about an area kind of like a piece of pie or a piece of pizza. And that would be a sector. And the formula for finding this is similar to the area for, or to the formula for arc length. This is still a fraction of your circle, but what we're finding now, instead of wanting a fraction of the circumference of the circle, we're finding a fraction of the area of the circle, okay? So in this case, we're looking for a fraction of the area instead of circumference. The fraction part is found the same way that we find it for arc length. Okay, so in this case, if I did, we'll do 90 again. That's an easy example. And we'll do a radius of 6. Okay, the fraction would be the degrees out of 360. The area is going to be pi r squared instead of pi times diameter. So what fraction would we have here? 90 over 360. And in your work, if you want to, if you're already going, well, 90 over 360 is 1/4. If you want to go straight to 1/4, that's fine. If you want to put 90 over 360 and use that, that's fine. I'm going to show both. So 90 over 360 is 1/4. It's going to make your life a lot simpler if you simplify that fraction before you multiply it. Pi r squared, what would I use with that? Pi times 6 squared. 6 squared is 36. So this would be 36 pi. And a fourth of 36 is 9. So that would be 9 pi, we'll call that feet, square feet. Okay. I don't want to say ignore pi completely. It needs to be there, unless your answer is a decimal answer, but don't worry about pi so much, worry about the other things, because the mistake that people will make here is they'll put in 6 for r, and then they'll multiply pi times r and square the result. You don't want to square pi, you just want to square the radius. So if you're constantly just thinking, leaving pi, almost leaving it out of it for a second, and taking care of the rest, and then putting the pi on, then you'll be in good shape. And if you need the decimal, you just do 9 times pi in your calculator. Okay, so let's do one example of that. I'm going to have you guys do it. Okay, so we're finding the area of that sector. Leave it in terms of pi. So remember, this is a fraction times your area, fraction of the area. All right, so what fraction am I using? 72 over 360 times pi r squared. So the radius is 20, so this would be 400 pi. 72 over 360 does simplify. Did anyone? One fifth? So 1/5 of 400. You could do 400 divided by 5 is 80 pi square centimeters. All right. So the last thing that we're going to do used to be pretty ugly, but it doesn't have to be, okay, is the area of a sector, or segment, sorry, area of a segment. So I'm going to stop this recording and put the area of a segment on another one so this doesn't get to be